General Hospital spoilers indicate that Willow Corinthos, Caitlin McMullen, has a pattern of falling in love with the man who saves her. First, it was Shiloh, Kobe Ryan McLaughlin, then Harrison Chase, Josh Swickard, then Michael Corinthos, Chad Duell, and finally Drew Quartermain, Cameron Matheson. Chase still cares about Willow and offers her a shoulder to lean on. Once Willow figures out that Drew is bad news and not the right guy for her, someone will be there to help her, and it could very well be Chase. GH spoilers. Harrison Chase loves to play hero. Being a police detective, Harrison Chase is already a hero, and he enjoys coming to people's rescue. Perhaps once Willow figures out who Drew is and what secrets he has, Drew will not leave her alone in a misguided attempt to reconcile with her. Willow will probably not believe that the relationship is salvageable and ask Drew to leave her alone. However, as we have seen, Drew does not listen and won't back down. Willow will need someone to help getting Drew away from her, and with Michael in bad shape, the only person left to come to her rescue is Chase. Chase will enjoy playing hero to Willow and getting Drew away from her. Maybe it could go too far and Chase will be forced to arrest Drew. General Hospital spoilers. Willow Corinthos always falls for her heroes. If Chase helps Willow by saving her from Drew, it is very possible that Willow will fall for him again. It is a pattern that she possesses and recognizes. It won't be too far-fetched, but Chase probably would have to let her down gently, as he is completely devoted to his wife, Brooke Lynn Quartermain Chase, Amanda Seton. Brooke Lynn would not be worried, as she knows that Chase and Willow's relationship is in the past. However, Brooke Lynn and Chase may face some obstacles ahead. GH spoilers. Brooke Lynn Quartermain Chase and Harrison Chase will face obstacles. Brooke Lynn and Chase have been trying to have a baby for a while now and are having some issues conceiving. Perhaps this will cause a rift between them that would put Chase closer to Willow. Even though Chase is devoted to Brooke Lynn, he may slip, knowing that Willow has strong feelings for him. Brooke Lynn is also keeping secrets from Chase regarding the baby that she gave up for adoption. Chase could be upset that Brooke Lynn was not honest with him about being pregnant before and giving up the baby for adoption. Will Chase be supportive when Brooke Lynn finally tells him the truth about the child she gave up, or will be angry with her? General Hospital spoilers. Willow Corinthos and Harrison Chase could be drawn to each other again. With Brooke Lynn keeping secrets and friction between her and Chase regarding having their own child, Chase will need someone to confide in. That person could very well be Willow. They were married once and were close and still are friends. Willow may be falling for Chase again, now that Drew is out of the picture, and will hope that she can win him back from Brooke Lynn. Chase could be drawn to her again as well. GH spoilers. What do you think? Do you think Chase will save Willow from Drew and she will fall for him again? Did you think Brooke Lynn and Chase will get through the obstacles in their marriage? Chapter 1. A pattern repeated. Willow Corinthos sat by the window of her living room, her thoughts tangled like the wind-swept leaves outside. It wasn't the first time her heart found solace in the arms of a man who had come to her rescue. Shiloh, Chase, Michael, Drew, they had all played the role of savior in her life at one point or another. And yet here she was, staring at the fallout of yet another failed relationship. Her phone buzzed, a text from Chase lighting up the screen. "Hey, just checking in. Need anything?" She hesitated before replying. Chase had always been there for her, but things were different now. He was married to Brooke Lynn, and Willow had vowed not to complicate his life again. Yet the comfort in his offer was tempting. She typed back, "I'm okay, just a rough day. Thanks for checking." Chapter 2. Drew's Persistence. Drew Quartermain, on the other hand, was not taking no for an answer. Despite Willow making it clear their relationship was over, Drew seemed determined to fix what was broken. He arrived uninvited at her doorstep, flowers in hand, his expression a mix of hope and desperation. Willow, please, he began, his voice soft but insistent. I know I've made mistakes, but we can fix this. Willow crossed her arms, standing firm. Drew, I need space. I've told you this already. Space won't fix what we have, he argued. You mean too much to me. Just as Drew's voice began to rise, there was a knock at the door. Willow's heart skipped a beat when she opened it to find Chase standing there, his badge gleaming subtly on his belt. Is everything okay here? Chase asked, his tone calm but authoritative. Willow glanced at Drew, who visibly stiffened under Chase's gaze. It's fine, Chase. Drew was just leaving. Reluctantly, Drew placed the flowers on the table and left, muttering under his breath. Chase stepped inside, concern etched on his face. You sure you're okay? He asked. Willow nodded, though her voice betrayed her uncertainty. I don't think he's going to leave me alone, Chase. Chapter 3. Chase's Hero Complex. Later that evening, Chase sat with Brooke Lynn at the Quartermain mansion, but his mind was elsewhere. He replayed the scene at Willow's house in his head, wondering if he'd done enough. Brooke Lynn noticed his distraction. You're thinking about her, aren't you? Chase looked up, startled. What? No, I was just. Chase, it's okay, Brooke Lynn interrupted with a small smile. I know you care about Willow. You're a good man. But don't forget, we've got our own stuff to figure out. She gestured toward a pamphlet on the table, a fertility clinic brochure. The tension between them was palpable. They'd been trying for a baby for months, and the lack of progress was straining their marriage. I haven't forgotten, Chase said, reaching for her hand. I want to help everyone. It's who I am. Brooke Lynn sighed. I know, just don't lose sight of us in the process, okay? Chapter 4. Willow's Growing Feelings. Days turned into weeks, and Chase continued to check in on Willow. Each visit brought back memories of their time together, memories that Willow found harder to ignore. One afternoon, Chase arrived to find Willow in tears. She just had another confrontation with Drew, who was becoming increasingly erratic in his attempts to win her back. He won't stop, Chase, Willow confessed, her voice trembling. I don't know what to do. Chase placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. I'll handle it, Willow. You don't have to face this alone. In that moment, Willow felt the familiar pull of admiration and gratitude. Chase had always been her rock, and her heart couldn't help but respond. Chapter 5. Brooke Lynn's Secret. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn was grappling with a secret of her own. Years ago, before she and Chase had reconnected, she'd given up a child for adoption. The guilt of not telling Chase was eating away at her, especially now that they were struggling to have a child of their own. One evening, as Chase returned home from a visit with Willow, Brooke Lynn decided it was time to come clean. There's something I need to tell you, she began, her voice shaky. Chase frowned, sensing her unease. What is it? Brooke Lynn took a deep breath. Before we got back together, I had a baby, and I gave them up for adoption. Chase was stunned. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, Brooke Lynn continued, tears streaming down her face. I was scared of how you'd react. Chase finally found his voice. Brooke Lynn, why didn't you trust me with this? Chapter 6. The Breaking Point. The revelation created a rift between Brooke Lynn and Chase. He began spending more time away from home, often with Willow. The comfort he found in her presence was undeniable, and soon their friendship began to blur the lines of propriety. One evening, after a particularly emotional conversation, Willow leaned in and kissed Chase. He pulled away, guilt written all over his face. Willow, I can't, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. I love Brooke Lynn. I know, Willow replied, her eyes filled with unshed tears. But I can't help how I feel. Chapter 7. Drew's Downfall. As Chase continued to support Willow, Drew's behavior escalated. He began showing up uninvited, making scenes in public, and even threatening Chase. Finally, Chase had no choice but to arrest him. The incident served as a turning point for Willow. She realized she couldn't keep relying on others to save her. It was time to break the cycle. Chapter 8: Healing and Closure. Willow began therapy to address her pattern of falling for her heroes. She also reached out to Michael, seeking to rebuild their friendship and co-parenting relationship. Chase, meanwhile, focused on repairing his marriage. He and Brooklyn attended counseling and began to work through their issues, including her secret about the child she'd given up. Chapter 9: A New Beginning. Months later, Willow sat at the park, watching her son play. Chase walked by with Brooklyn, their hands intertwined. They exchanged a friendly wave, the tension of the past finally behind them. For the first time in years, Willow felt at peace. She didn't need a hero to save her. She was learning to be her own.